Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay. Nehemiah is having some trouble connecting. As soon as he gets on, we can start the class. In the meantime, you can go ahead and forward some questions you're having, or questions you have. And when Nehemiah gets here, we'll start answering them. So I'm going to give you a couple more minutes to try and get him online.
All right. Okay. Thanks. All right, good morning.
Okay. Hello, everyone. All right, everybody, sorry for the delay. We had some technical difficulties. Okay, go ahead and start today's class. Go ahead. Okay, let's start with our opening prayer, the prayer for the spiritual workers. And then we will go into question and answer. Get that up. Prayer for the spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, will defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. Okay, everybody, welcome. To another open discussion class, and this is class number 47. So as is our typical agenda, the first half of the class we will have free open discussion and question and answer. You can ask any questions you have and we will get those answered for you. If you're joining us via Zoom, you can either use the raise hand feature or you can type your question in the chat. If you're joining us via YouTube, you can just type your questions in the chat and we will get those answered for you. After the Q&A session, we will go into the diagrams. The diagrams are located in a shared Google Drive folder. So if you're on our Meetup and you get our weekly announcements for classes, the link will be there. This also should be in the description of the YouTube videos. Let's show really quick where we are. I think today we were going to do the census. Correct? Yeah, I think we're going to start looking at the 10 census today. All right, so I already have a couple of questions queued up, so let me hop to those. Get everything set up here so I can see it clearly. Okay, our first question is regarding mantra. When you do a mantra to the point that it makes tears fall from your eyes, does that mean you have just burned up a subconscious samskara?
I don't think so. I never heard of that. I mean, I know a lot of people get emotional when they get into chanting the mantra because it brings about a a lot of sensations from the flow of energy and the acceleration of energy particles within the auric field, and you have a burst of activity on the subtle planes. So I think that that's why a lot of people get emotional about that. Whether it's burning up samskaras, I know mantra does burn samskaras up, but whether a samskara is burnt up just because you're tearing, I can't say that.
Okay. Next question says, we talk a lot about the Buddhist and Hindu teachings, as well as Christ the Ascended Master, but what about the esoteric teachings of Islam Sufi mystics? Was Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, an ascended master?
To my knowledge, I never heard anyone refer to him as an ascended master. I know he was a great teacher, but I never heard anybody refer to him as an ascended master.
I guess he was also asking about the esoteric Islamic or Sufi mystic teachings. Are those similar to the Buddhist and Hindu teachings?
What?
So he was also asking about the Sufi mystic teachings.
Some of the Sufi teachings, they adopted. Well, I tell you, most religions adopted, even Christianity, of course, Buddhism as well. They adopted a lot of the Hindu teachings to make it their own teachings. Because I think the Hindu teachings are probably some of the oldest mystic teachings on earth. And the Hindu teachings is not exclusive to Hindus or to India. It was something that was all over the world. They just happened to hold on to a lot of the teachings. But when you start studying the teachings from all over the world, you see similarities of these teachings, because these teachings extend back 18 million years. The Hindus claim their writings go back 90,000 years. But the theosophical teachings and even some of the Hindu and Buddhist teachings, they clearly say that these teachings extend back some 18 million years.
Okay. Is it true or evil spirits can take the form of spiritual masters in visions? If so, who is exempt from being impersonated by these beings, and how can one identify a real encounter?
Well, in my opinion, I was taught that you have to constantly discriminate uh, when, regardless of what entities or beings come before you, uh, telling you that they are the way and the truth and all of this. You always have to discriminate. It doesn't matter how fascinating they may see if you don't discriminate and have a method of proving what they say they are uh, to be who they really are, then you can fall prey of that. It doesn't matter whether you are an adept or a master, because even adepts and the masters tell you to discriminate. And then a lot of them, they describe the fact that when a great being do come before them, they examine that being to see if that being is who they say they are. That's just common sense. Other than that, you will be, believing anything. So you must, in your practice, on your daily practice, you must practice discrimination. I hope that answered the question. Dwayne, can you hear me well?
There's the echo, but that's just because of the room that you're in.
Okay.
Charlie, is that a question you want me to ask to the group, or ask to live, or is that a?
Yeah, please, if you can ask the group that.
Okay. 'Cause I was thinking about the unthinkable question. Meaning, what causes God to create? Do you think it's possible that a soul goes through all the degrees and aspects of growth throughout the universe? It's the new God conscious soul. They choose to create another universe instead of being dissolved into the all.
Is that I mean, we're taught to, that's one of the questions, that's one of the things that we really don't know. We can speculate, but we really don't know. And when we reach back to the Godhead, as some Hindus and mystics call it, then that's the question. That's the one question that would be answered, and that's why. Why did all this happen?
Okay, please be so kind and to explain the difference between the Bhava Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. What stage on the way to enlightenment does the Bhava Samadhi indicate?
I really don't predicate to those type of because it confuses people. So there are several different types of samadhi, but the way I understand and the way I was taught over the last 20, 30 years, that you learn to concentrate, then you learn to contemplate, and then you learn to meditate. And when you can meditate, once you meditated for long periods of time and you can hold meditation for many, many hours, then you fall into the real first stage of samadhi. I know a lot of other people give samadhi at an earlier thing, but the way I was taught is that you have to first pass concentration, contemplation, and then go into meditation. And you go, and from there you fall into the real levels of samadhi after going into meditation many, many times. And then you have layers of samadhi that you go into. And that samadhi will lead you into cosmic consciousness. And then you would go from there into deeper and deeper states of cosmic consciousness and samadhi. And then eventually you will be able to ascend. And that's the line of teaching I came from. Now, a lot of teachers will say that you can do samadhi at a level of contemplation. I don't believe that. And some of them advocate doing samadhi at a level of concentration. I definitely don't believe that. Concentration is training the mind and the body to have singular thought, to be able to push all your mental forces and physical forces down one train of thought. And then from that acceleration of thought on one thing, it opens you up to the mental and psychic realms of understanding on that particular thought, that person, place, or thing that you actually concentrating on. And then you begin to see the inner signatures of that, which express itself and have you to experience various levels of psychic and clairvoyant powers. And then once you can bring that at will, then you push that along with concentration and contemplation until you can begin to move all the energies of the body and move into meditation. And then once you can move all the energies of the body into meditation, then you will go into samadhi. After many, many times of doing that. So, and then from there you go into the higher states of samadhi and cosmic consciousness and nirvana. I hope that answered your question.
So I think this question is a follow-up to that same samadhi question. Is it only about what you do or also about what spontaneously happens to you?
I don't know what they mean by that.
Yeah, Elena, can you expand on that a bit? Are you referring to the samadhi question, or are you referring to another topic that was mentioned? Okay, a different question. Do you have any recommendations for clearing blockages in the throat chakra?
Mantra and prayer. It clears up all the chakras. So if you take time to chant mantra and pray and maybe even do the 12 lesson practices on a daily basis, you can help clear that up. And through concentration type practices and visualization type practices, they help clears up the chakras.
Okay, so they're referring to meditation and all practices in question. So is meditation, is it only about what you do or also about what spontaneously happens to you?
Well, you know, every action must have a reaction according to the universal law. So whatever you do, you begin to bring about a series of reactions that's going to happen to you. So they are one and the same. But what you're trying to do, you're trying to predetermine your actions so that you can predetermine your reactions. So that's how you have to look at it. But you have to stand fast on your actions because the result that you want is to gain a higher state of consciousness. And that resort is the resort is meditation, then, like I said, you must move through concentration and meditate in order to get to meditation.
Okay, are there any additional questions? Maybe I should put the diagram up too. Okay. Let me see if I understand this question. Does re-imaging your past mistakes cause new samskaras? Or let's say you predetermine a good outcome versus a bad one before you decide how to move forward. Will the bad outcome cause scarring on your aura?
Um, I don't get what they're talking about.
Does re-imaging your past? Do you mean thinking about or recollecting over your past mistakes? Does that cause new some scars? Is that what you're referring to, Charlie?
Just by having past thoughts? Is that what they're trying to do?
I think like if by going over their past mistakes, does that cause new some scars?
No, I think you have to introduce something new in order to cause passion. The only some scars that might cause is that just the action of what you're doing. It cause a reflective type some scar, but this doesn't. I don't think it's creating a whole new pattern. No, I don't think so.
Okay, and in the second part of his question, I think he means if you predetermine a positive outcome, but before you decide how to move forward or how to take action, if those actions produce a bad outcome, will that cause scarring on your aura?
Everything that you do cause scarring on your aura. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Some scars is good and indifferent and bad and a little bit of both. So, but any action you take is going to cause us some scar. And a lot of times you don't know something's bad until it has completed its process. So. Sometimes learning is painful. A lot of times learning is painful.
Let's see. Right. In the 60s, there was a great war in the astral realms, and on the gross plane here on Earth, there were symptoms of it. In the US, people were demanding civil rights, experimenting with drugs, and a growing resentment against the war. What can you speak to the current state in the US and possible activity on the astral realms?
Well, the thing is that most of what happened on the astral realms is a reflection of what's happening here. So, except for the astral realms, a lot of times the activity have passed maybe many years. So that's, and the only thing the activities going on here is a reflection of part of what happened on the lower astral realms, 5, 10, 15 years ago, sometime up to 30 years ago. So, I mean, in most cases, that's how it is. And sometimes you can look around the world and see the same thing. Whatever happens here, whatever happens in Britain happens here. And whatever happens in Britain and here begins to happen all over Europe and all over the world. So, and the same thing with other countries. Whatever goes on in China begins to happen in certain countries as well. That's closely connected with China. Same thing with Russia.
So,
I
for
think
example,
a lot of what we're going through right now is due to our own personal selfishness. I think that's what's going on right now. The reaction of collective selfishness and narrow-mindedness.
so it could be many, many years until we feel like see the reflection of the full ramifications of, like, say, karma life, for example.
Yeah, I think we feeling that already, but I don't think we felt the full brunt of it yet.
Well, here's a tricky question. How powerful is praying or sending positive energy to our enemies? How does it affect our dharma or karma?
I mean, when they say sending energy to your enemies, for what though? It's the intent. The intent is the key to sending energy.
Yeah, they just said positive energy, but they didn't qualify any further.
Yeah, I mean, positive can mean anything. What's your intent to sending energy to your enemies? If you go back to the master and the student goes to the master and say, why are you helping our enemy who tried to take us down and kill us all? And the master said, why do you ask me that? They say, because he came to the door and asked for a bowl of rice, and you gave it to him. So the master turned to him and said, did the earth fall from under his feet? Did the sun refuse to shine on him? Did everything disappear around from him? You know, if these great things still serve him, then who am I to deny him? If you mean in that sense, then yeah, you serve your enemy. It's your intention. You know, because our intention is to sustain all life around us, regardless of what we feel about that life. Because most people are only here to gain experience to go to the next level. And eventually, everyone gets it right.
The US government recently declassified UFO sightings. Our government has created a task force to pursue these objects, should humanity be concerned.
I don't think so.
They said, could these sightings be from human antagonists? From the human antagonist that seems to be at the center of all negative conspiracy theories.
I don't think so. I mean, it's either one or the other. Anyone who can manipulate energy enough to move across trillions of miles, they're either good for us or bad for us. One or the other. So either way, we're gonna get, we're gonna have a good thing happen, or we're gonna have a good start over from. So I don't think I don't think we have to really concentrate on that. I mean, and if we do believe in a higher power, then a weak and frail and people like ourselves, someone has been protecting us all this time. So our protectors will guide us from the evil, from those people who come in to probably start over, have us to start over. But I don't think we have to worry about that too much. Because over the last 100 years, they probably had tens of thousands of UFO sightings. So whoever's out there been here for a while.
Okay. As a topic of today's discussion is Pratyahara. Well, we may not get to Pratyahara today. Anyway, could you please speak about Pratyahara techniques as well as your personal experience in these regards?
When we get to that.
Okay. Is there any significance about the recent sighting of Mars next to the full moon this month?
Mars next to the full moon.
Yeah, I guess he's meaning any astrological significance to Mars being positioned next to the full moon this month.
I don't know. I'm not too much into that astrology. I know a little bit about astrology. No more questions?
No. Are there any additional questions? If not, can move into the diagrams. Do you position your bed from north to south when sleeping to match the polarity of the earth?
Yeah, that's a practice that was given to us, was given to mystics to do.
At what chakra level is the Akashic Records available to man? When can we tap into the mind belt of infinite intelligence?
At each level, the Akashic Records is available through reflection, refraction, or through uh, directly tapping into it. It depends on your ability to harness those records through your sensory perception. I hope you understand what I'm saying there. Any other question?
No. Wait. Okay. Is there such a thing as an original identity when traveling between the realms? Or do you have the same face or identity in this life?
No, I don't know what they mean, but I know I know what I experienced. I mean, everyone's not going to look the same from life to life, and that's what they're asking for. You know, you take on different looks, different everything. So, but the auric signature of a person is noticeable, if that's what you mean. The auric signature of a person. I have met people in this life that I have known in past lives. And as they walk into the building and I don't see their physical being, I know who they are because of their auric signature. So it's not how they look, it's their presence that you recognize.
They said even in the higher realms, is that true?
Yes, it's their presence, yes. I think Dr. King, he slightly, he didn't go into great detail, but he talked about the man that had blind Samson, and he was he was on the lower astral realms, and he ran into adept number 3 who had reincarnated as Samson, and he recognized him. And this man who had actually blind Samson many thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, he himself was a great mystic at one time, but he failed and because his master was struck down before him, and he fell to the bottom. He was depressed and ended up going through several lifetimes of depression, and ended up at the bottom where he actually took the eyesight of a great master. But fast forward a couple thousand years, he was this great master, Samson, or adept number 3, who had reincarnated as Samson and Hercules. He recognized him. He was not in the same body, but he recognized his presence, his auric signature. So you can, I mean, this happens all the time.
Okay. All right, so now we'll transition into the diagrams. You can still feel free to ask any questions you have. Hopefully you've all had a chance to review the diagrams before today. Looking at mapping out the 10 senses and 10 sense organs. So on the left hand of the diagram, you see a depiction of which senses are being referred to. And on the right hand, a description of those senses. Everyone should be generally familiar with the first 5 senses, which is sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. So there may be some additional questions on the other 5. But starting from the top, sight or visual perception of items, it allows you to experience the item's presence and its visual description. Number 2, hearing or perception of sound. It allows you to experience the conscious thoughts, mental expression of another person or object. Number 3, smell or perception of odor. It allows you to connect with an object or person through the odor or scent that's expelled from their being. Number 4, taste is the perception of defining flavor and the ability of experiencing something through blending one's self with it through the tongue, a sense organ. And number 5, touch is the sensory perception for experiencing the physical state of another object through the skin, a sense organ. Okay. So now the 6 through 10, which is on the bottom diagram. Number 6, speech. Speech is a known additional sense. It is the ability to translate consciousness and thoughts into the spoken words through the tongue, a sense organ of the body. 7, generation. Generation is a known additional sense which builds the attraction to the opposite sex and is the sense organ that it operates from the genitalia and is the instrument for procreation. Number 8, excretion is a known additional sense. It is the ability to translate consciousness and thoughts. Wait, is that description correct, Nehemiah? I'll come back to that. Number 9, grasping. This additional sense is the ability to pick up objects that the consciousness perceives. The hands are the sense organs for grasping. And number 10, movement. Movement is the additional sense, is the ability to move through the physical realm with the use of the sense organ, the feet. Okay. Let's see if there's any questions here. Oh, okay. Nehemiah, for number 8, excretion, is that the correct description or is that a mistake?
No, that's not. That's an unedited version. It's an excretion that eliminates waste from the body. But it's a sense organ. It's one of the highest sense organs of the body. And it helps to expel, it's part of one of the five minor pranas that helps you to move negative energy out of the body.
You mentioned minor pranas. Does that mean that the 10 senses correspond to both the major and minor pranas?
Yes, it does, yes. It uses the 5 major and minor pranas for its functions. Right, minor pranas, like when you yarn, that's a minor prana that helps you to recalibrate and to actually excrete certain energies, certain negative energies out of the body. So when you have a hiccup, that's a minor prana that's in action. When you sleep, that's a minor prana as well. And positive pranas is walking, talking, smelling, touching. All of those are major pranas that you're using.
I also noticed that like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, meaning sight, hearing, smell, taste, and speech, are predominantly located in the head, but then touch, generation, excretion, and grasping and movement, those are responding to the rest of the body. Is there a reason why half of the sensory perceptions is localized into the head region and the rest distributed throughout the rest of the body?
That's because the original vehicle of consciousness, the essence of the original vehicle of consciousness is located where?
In the Christ center.
When we talk about the 7 tissues, the essence of the 7 tissues is what? We talked about it last week.
Yeah, the ojas in the brain.
The ojas, yeah, in the brain. And remember, Kundalini is the vehicle of consciousness. So that's why a lot of medical doctors, they figure that the brain is the key to consciousness, when really it's not. Of course, now they're more advanced now. They see that the nervous system is part of the brain, and the nervous system is located throughout the whole body. But the connection to the outer world is done through the upper neck and head. So that's what the yogis have been saying for years, for thousands of years.
So as Kundalini descended Sushumna, did these other sense organs become, sensory perceptions become necessary. For example, generation, excretion, and movement. We express ourselves through those perceptions because of the state of Kundalini within our structures?
Yeah, the network that Nadi network was created. It was a reaction of Kundalini, of Shakti power falling into a Kundalini state, and the reaction of that was the Nadi system was developed throughout the auric structure in order to bring about the sense organs, the sense organs and the sensory perception, which is nothing but the presence of which is nothing for the presence of the Kundalini, because the Kundalini is the vehicle of consciousness for basic man in a semi-conscious state.
Okay. So are there any questions so far? Let me do a quick check. No, nothing yet. Are there any questions on this page? Okay, so just as manas is the distortion of energies, cosmic energies within the aura, could these senses and their functions be distorted as well?
Say that again.
Can these senses and their functions be distorted in a similar way like how manas is a distortion of the energies within the aura?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing with Raja Yoga and Nana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is perfecting these senses, is having them to become whole again, because they're not working in their full capacity. You understand?
Right, in full capacity, meaning having them and work in conjunction with their astral and etheric equivalents?
Right, right.
Okay, in the next slide, or the next page, we get into the psychic aspect of it, meaning the astral equivalent to the 10 senses and the etheric equivalent to the 10 senses. Just see if there's any questions so far. See, what would make your body feel like there are ants running in your veins after you eat? Because even in my brain, I feel this within seconds.
I mean, first you have to cancel out all the medical issues before you can even begin to get into that. But That's what I would do. I would eliminate any medical problems that could be possible before you begin to look for metaphysical or mystic reasons. And that's my answer to that.
I have a question regarding the sun and the God mantra being sent to us every 30 minutes. Is that a conscious action of the sun, or is it like an involuntary response like breathing from the sun?
The sun is a great being. It's like a god to us. It doesn't have to have involuntary actions. Whatever the sun does, it does for a precise reason. So that's the difference between semi-consciousness and full consciousness. Of course, the sun is even above consciousness because the sun creates consciousness helps to create consciousness for trillions of life forms. So the sun is strictly adhering to the laws of karma, and that is the laws of God, the absolute. So the sun releases a mantra every 32 minutes out to the universe, out to the solar system. That's a comic thing that the sun must do in order to help sustain life as we understand it on this earth and all the planets within its orbit, and maybe outside of its orbit as well. Remember, a great being like the sun, everything they do for a reason.
Okay, let's go ahead and move to the next page. Okay, this page goes into a bit more detail. A lot more detail, actually, as you read through it, of the 10 senses and the 10 sense organs, and also introduces these psychic and advanced psychic aspects, as well as their associated chakras with each of the sense organs. All right, so let's start off on the right-hand side. We'll kind of go from right to left on the top, and then the bottom will go from left to right. So we have the 5 additional senses, and you see again the description, the diagram, the drawing of the body, showing where the voice, grasping, procreation, movement, and excretion senses are located. The table there on the right-hand side, saying speech, the voice, grasping with the hands, procreation with the genitals, excretion with the anus, and movement, the feet. And on the left, we have a drawing of the nadis from the throat to the Christ chakra. So we have the Ida and Pingala nadis and showing how they correspond to the sense organs in the head, the right and left nadis in the eyes and ears at the top, coming from the Christ chakra. And then again at the nostrils, at the lips, and then at the throat. Something that comes to mind here when I'm looking at this diagram of the nadis, and I know generally speaking, we say that the Ida and Pingala serve different functions. One's more mental, one's more physical, or vital, sorry. The mental, the Ida, Pingala is the vital, and the Pingala nadi, energy. Does that correspond to the sense organs as well? Like, is there a difference, so to speak, between the left and right eye, left and right nostril, left and right side of the mouth, or the lips?
No, not really. I mean, this is just a diagram of the diagram. You have the nadis, you have the Ida and Pingala nadi is in both eyes. The Ida and Pingala nadi is in just one is recessive and one is dominant, but and then it may shift too. So, but this is just for our diagram purposes, just to try to understand it. But with every sensory organ, you have both nadis at in full effect.
So in pranayama, for example, when we're closing up one nostril and breathing into the other, is that affecting the nadic flow?
Yeah, I mean the nostrils is the main highway for the nadis. So it's affecting them, but understand that you're still using both Ida and Pingala, even though if you plug up one, don't think that there's no, like you plug up the left, don't think that there's no Ida, because the Ida is still there, because they work in conjunction. But it's a way to trigger, connect, retard, those type of things. So, but it's still there.
Nehemiah,
Yeah.
are they termination points or no?
I would say they termination points. I would say that they are openings, and they are vortex centers to create levels of consciousness. Because they open and then they move on to the next to the next level, so that they can create a matrix to allow viewing and perception from different levels. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so like in the mouth, you have the Sushumna, Pingala, Ida, and Kundalini power represented there. And then you go into more description up in the bottom right corner. But is that the same for the eyes and the nose as well? Well, I would assume so.
Yeah.
Maybe not as pronounced as the mouth, but it it does have its reflection. All the nadis have their reflection there as well.
Yeah, because the mouth has a, remember the tongue is the tongue is subtly, on a subtle level, the tongue is directly connected to the kundalini.
Right.
There,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's a direct connection to the kundalini.
Because it's the instrument we use to express our consciousness.
Right.
And so if you look on the bottom right-hand corner, there is a detailed description of the mouth with the top lip represents the power Shiva's stillness in creation, right? And why? Because the top of the mouth doesn't move. The tongue represents nada power that flows from Kundalini. And why is that? We just described that. And the bottom lip represents Shakti power of action. And why? Because the jaw moves. So you have stillness, consciousness, and action all represented in the mouth. And these terms should be familiar to you because in many of the other diagrams we've looked at in previous open discussions, we've talked about Shiva, Shakti, Nada, and so forth. So it should all be making sense. I see I have a couple questions here. Is anyone feeling intense vibrations and sensations in the groin area / root chakra? It's like a constant wave of energy lately. Not really a question, but yeah. Yes, from time to time. I usually feel something like that when I'm in prayer or doing some real concentrated spiritual work. Are you asking why does that happen? So you're just trying to see if other people have similar sensation. Okay, so why does that happen?
I need more information. Remember, everything there's a reaction to actions. So what did you do to cause that?
Okay, she's saying she's feeling intense vibration centers in the groin root chakra area. I want to know why isn't the energy going upwards? It seems to be stuck in the lower part.
If that's the case, I would examine my thoughts and actions to see why that's happening. You know, if you're going to be a student, be a student. I mean, there's no magic stuff here. Actions cause reactions, and which is results. A combination of those reactions, they formulate into results. So, if you're having problem raising your consciousness, because if you're saying that you have energy stuck at the groin area, then you're having a problem raising your consciousness, because each chakra is a level of consciousness. So examine your actions. What are you doing to cause that accumulation of energy there? And then you work back and see when did it start and how, and when did that start happening? And then at what level did your consciousness rise to other chakras? That you, in a normal way, what was the normal rise of your consciousness?
They said, I have a lot of fears and anxieties.
You need to work out those fears. You need to figure out where did they originate from. Go to the seed of those original fears and try to transform them into with understanding and knowledge. Because fear is usually just a combination of ignorance. You fear something because you don't understand it. So you come to an understanding of what the parameters of that thing that you fear and how much power it really has and how to handle it so that it cannot hurt you. And then you have no more fear. You control that.
How can you remedy or negate the effects / impacts or impact or trauma caused by being in a negative environment? For example, a war zone, mental institution, prison, or environment that is harmful. How can the senses be harmed or repaired given the nature of one's concentration? Okay, that's a separate question. So let's go to the first one. How can you remedy or negate the effects / impact or trauma caused by being in a negative environment?
I think all of us in a negative environment, but you're talking about an extreme negative environment. You shift your consciousness to something higher, and you constantly pray or send out energy to those things around you in order to help lift them out of the situation that they are in. And then you become that beacon for that particular area. And if you have the means, you can move out of that area, but then to a better place in order, but then also still do the same thing.
Okay, and the second question, how can the senses be harmed or repaired given the nature of one's concentration?
I mean, I don't know if that's the right question to ask. I mean, concentration can only improve your situation because concentration uncovers it uncovers the norm, the so-called fake norm or maya they talked about that you have created for yourself. It reveals the truth, the reality, one layer at a time as you gain concentration and contemplation. It allows you to see things for what they are. So your ability to learn concentration and contemplation and meditation will only allow you to see a greater and greater and greater reality of what you're really looking at.
Can we store an enormous amount of unimpregnated prana in the body as a reserve, or will this cause an issue? And is the solar plexus a storehouse for this energy?
You have to be a very advanced person to do that. Because the minute energy hits your aura, that energy is impregnated in some shape or form. So the deal is to be able to concentrate that energy through you, because when you get into, like, let's say when you get into a prayer mode, the thing is that one of the reasons why you chant mantra is to clear a pathway to allow you to run energy through your body or through your auric bodies. So what does the mantra do? The mantra spins the aura, and as the mantra spins the aura, it clears up the pathways of the chakra levels to allow you to screen energy through that area without being so affected by you, but only introducing the purpose and direction that you have placed into the prayer. But the minute that prayer session is over with, that screen dissipates, and all energy coming into your body is impregnated by your character.
So following up with that, how, like, honestly speaking, how effective is our prayer, the prayer energy that we produce at our level? Since we're unable to clearly focus and concentrate and not distort that energy with any grasshopping or negative thoughts, or just the pollution in our auras, how really effective then is our prayer energy?
It depends on the individual, and it depends on the group, the dynamic of the group. If you connect yourself to the group, you can, sometimes the group helps you potentize your energy. If you don't connect yourself, then it's not happening. You're only creating negative karma for yourself by being with the group and not giving it your all. But if you do the technique, because the technique, the mantra makes your aura expands when you intone that mantra properly, and especially if you're in a group session. That's why I was telling you, even on Zoom, you should try to open the mics for the mantra, because the mantra helps. Especially, it helps to synchronize the chakras and the auric body, and even your mantra and the mantra you're hearing through your ears, it helps to synchronize that group. And then so now when you begin to place purpose in the energy that you push out, you're very effective in doing that, because you'll open a door. Mm-hmm. You know, and like Dr. King said, the light went up, and now even the etheric and astral beings who have came to join you, they come in and they add energy to your energy, or they manipulate your energy even for their realms of existence. You know, so because if they join in and they want to push out energy, their energy go out to the world, but on different levels. But they also can help manipulate your energy if they're intelligent enough to do so. And you give the energy, and because of that, you give the divas the ability to manipulate the energy at a higher level because you have created the screen around yourself. Now you are a powerhouse for this energy with purpose and direction, and the prayers themselves and the synchronization of the mudras, the visualization, and the occasional mantras. It helps to reinforce that screen. Deep reverence you give that prayer and direction of the energy helps to reinforce the screens. But like I say, the minute you you come out of that mystic practice and you end that mystic practice by the mudra, by the mantra, that screen began to dissipate, and the lower part of your aura begins to blend back in, and now you have this full effect of manas.
So in the past, and we've tried opening up the mics so that everyone can chant the mantra together. That's the imitation technology we're using. It just sounds convoluted. Is there a way to get around, like say, for example, if we were to play a mantra track and have everyone recite to that while we're doing the mantra?
I don't know if you got to find a reason why it sounds convoluted. I mean, you know, maybe it's the high-pitched tone, or maybe you could bring it down. I don't know, but I think it will help if you do that. So it's not the sound effect you're trying to get. Is what you're trying to get is the tone, is the syncing. You know, to have that. To have everyone connect, because my sound, my voice to you, our aura is connected. It doesn't matter how far we're away from each other.
Right.
You know, I can affect you with my consciousness by speaking, by intoning certain or releasing certain knowledge to you and understanding. Now, it's the same thing happened with mantra. You know, so a good leader of that mantra can still intone and still send that out to everyone, but everyone have to be conscious. You know, so they have to be paying attention and alert.
Okay, a couple questions here. During prayer, if you lose your visualization or train of thought, should you visually start from the beginning or start off from the point that you lost your train of thought?
You can start off on the point you lost your train of thought. You know, sometimes if it's too bad and you're doing the prayer by yourself, you can just stop and start over as well. But if you're in a group session, you need to just start from the point where you lost and try to synchronize yourself with the group.
Yeah, Charlie, something I do when I'm doing the 12 blessings on my own, and I'm having some difficulty concentrating, Well, it's good to have the prayers memorized. That'll help you concentrate. Also, if my mind is running over the place, I may try to mentally recite a mantra while I'm performing the prayer. That helps sometimes. Or if it's really bad and just some really awkward thoughts are coming in, I'll just stop and wait for my mind to come back and then continue praying there. There's a practice that Nehemiah teaches us um, where when you're trying to concentrate or focus or do a concentration practice and focus on a single thing, if the mind is constantly bouncing around, you let it run around until it gets tired, and then you gently bring it back to what you're focusing on. That's in the practice. Oh, well, Charlie, why aren't you initiated in mantra? You should have gotten the tapes already. I'll leave a link in the chat so you can pick up the mantra initiation CD or album from the society. Let's see what else. I assume you're supposed to visualize energy and feel each word in the prayer deeply simultaneously. What is the best book for concentration? Well, in the 12 blessings, we are given a visualization. We're supposed to visualize the energy leaving our heart center and the palms of our hands as we recite each word. It's easier to, again, focus on and intensify the visualization if you have the prayers memorized. If you don't have the prayers memorized, you're reading as you're doing the prayers. But with any prayer technique, Nehemiah has given many classes on the prayer technique, even specific lectures on prayer, visualization, mantra, mudra, and so forth. So look back at those classes and you'll have an in-depth discourse on prayer and the proper technique, especially the one expounded by Dr. George King and taught through the Dear Society. Okay, the questions. When it comes to the senses, I've noticed that people are more receptive / kind towards me based on my voice and tone over the phone, as opposed to how people at times react to me face to face. Is there a reason for that?
I really don't know. People are complex individuals. I mean, they have all these different phobias and where they prejudge people and everything. So we allow a lot of that stuff to affect us, and we set up a lot of false premises. So that's why I tell people to analyze things coldly and look at them as they are, and don't, and discriminate, but discriminate in a very constructive way, and don't allow yourself to create biases and culture biases too. I think that's what hold back a lot of mystics, where they get into the culture biases, and they create these prejudice and that shape their thinking, and then they lose out when they begin to go into the practices, because now they created these monster type samskaras that they have to clear up in order to move forward. Would that answer your question?
Yes, it did. I said thank you. Okay, let me see. I think we'll move into the psychic and advanced psychic counterparts of the senses in the next class, as well as the pratyahara. Actually, I should sort this so that it's, yeah, we'll do pratyahara last. So let me reorganize this. Put this down here. Okay, so next class we'll look at this table in the bottom left-hand corner. We'll go into the psychic aspects, or the astral and etheric counterpart of the 10 senses. So for example, like clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and so on. And then we'll look at the mystic makeup of the sensory perception. And then we'll finish up with the withdrawing of the senses, the pratyahara. So those 3 pages, I just reorganized it so it'll be organized differently in the handouts in the shared drive folder. But just so you know, these will be the last. This is what we'll cover next time. Are there any final questions? This thing keeps moving around, so it's hard for me to find where your questions are. No. No in the chat. Okay, I'm going to put in the chat a link to the Initiation into Dynamic and Soul Mantra, both the physical CD and the MP3 download option. So you can go ahead and purchase that. I keep stressing this because again, and how very important it is to have mantras to utilize in your practice. And compared to how you'd have to go about getting initiation into mantras in the past, $30 is a really small price to pay. So go ahead, purchase that, and utilize it in both your daily practice and your prayer practice, as well as when you join us for our weekly 12 blessing services. All right. I guess I can put it in the chat too for Zoom. All right. Are there any final questions before we close out today's session? See a chat there. Okay. All right, let's go ahead with our closing prayer. Prayer for the New Lord's Prayer. Just make sure there's no more questions. If you do have any of the questions, you can also email them to us. and we can address those or more private questions you didn't feel comfortable asking during the open discussion. You can email them to us and we'll address those as well. If you'd like to join our weekly 12 blessing service, you can send us an email and I'll add you to our email list. Okay. The New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up and in doing so receive their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Oh, great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right, thank you everybody for your kind attendance and attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful week and we will see you next time.